Hello, my creative friends. I'm Heather North from heatherscreativeblessings.com. Stamp Nation's virtual retreat is in full swing, and my card today is based on the first challenge to bring limited supplies, because when you're packing, there's only so much you can bring. So the challenge is to do one stamp set. I have Hello Life from Stampin' Up!, 3 ink pads, and mine are all from Memento Lux, and then 1 embellishment. And I decided to bring sequins. I keep my sequins in this craft mate container. And what I would do, you see I've got some empty ones here. I would just fill those with some of my different sequins. If I had to be really conservative and only bring one little baggie, I would fill it with sparkling clear sequins from Pretty Pink Posh, because I just love those sequins. Now, the challenge didn't say anything about your tools you would bring, but I would definitely be bringing my MISTI because it is compact. I can stamp any size image that I might need to bring or want to bring, and I think it would fit easily into my suitcase. Plus, it gets perfect stamping just about every time. If it doesn't get perfect stamping, it's operator error. Okay, so what I did was I lined up my cardstock. This is Whisper White cardstock, into the bottom left corner of my MISTI tool, and I've got my magnets on there, and then I placed my sentiment where I wanted it to stamp. This is a new stamp, and it's super sticky. Those clear stamps they can really stick to your paper, and as you can see, my paper lifted off even with those 2 magnets. I really need to get a couple more. But what I did was I just put that cardstock back into that bottom left corner, and it's going to be right where I wanted it to be. I placed my Bahama Blue Memento Lux ink on a diagonal and inked up my stamp, and then just closed the lid on the MISTI, and it stamps down. Now my paper is going to lift again. I'm just going to peel it off, stick it back into that bottom left corner, and try again. I really need to get more magnets. I have here just, this is a chamois that you use to dry your car. I just have a damp chamois, and I'm wiping off some of the excess. You don't have to do this, but I was just trying to save my ink pads from getting a lot of excess ink on them. I'm using, I believe this is Rosebud from Memento Lux again, and I just, again, inked it up on a diagonal, stamped over my piece, and you can see where the pink meets the blue, you get a purple. Even though the paper lifted and I had to put that cardstock back in there a couple of times, it still stamps perfectly, and I've got clean lines flowing in between as these colors overlap. This MISTI tool is awesome for a perfectionist like me that messes up, but I still am getting perfect stamping. I'm so impressed. So that last color, I believe, was Lilac Posies. I just did it in the same way. I had planned on using a black matte, but I think it's just a little bit too harsh. So I have here just another scrap of Whisper White cardstock that's a little bit larger than my focal point, and I'm going to use the direct to paper technique. These are pigment inks, and I already made a mess of my pigment ink staying wet and getting on my fingers and getting on something else. So I just pulled in an extra piece of scrap paper that I can move away from my stamping surface as soon as I'm done here. I'm just taking my ink pads on a diagonal and just going directly to the paper and swiping across, letting them overlap and getting some of that color to blend and make a third color. These Memento Lux pigment inks take a long time to dry, so I just set mine aside to dry for a while and then came back to it. I am using some snail adhesive to just adhere my layers together. I don't think I said before, but that Whisper White cardstock piece, I cut it down to 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And then my layered piece that I'm attaching it to right now is just 1/8 of an inch larger. Even as careful as I was trying to be, I still got some inky fingers on my card front. So I use a clean eraser, make sure it's clean by rubbing off on some scrap paper, and then erase away the ink. And this worked pretty well because it was light. My final step will be to add my star sequins from Pretty Pink Posh. And then I'm going to use Ranger Multi Matte Medium because even if the glue seeps out, it dries matte and clear. And I have a little applicator, glue applicator. My husband got it from a hobby store. He puts together model tanks and airplanes, but I think you can probably find it at Michael's or Joann's. It's just a great little disposable tip. That completes my card for today. I thought this challenge was so much fun. I ended up making at least 3 more cards with this challenge as my jumping off point. I hope that you've enjoyed this. If you are a Stamp Nation member, be sure and head on over there and create your own card and enter it for some prizes and giveaways from our fabulous sponsors. If you like my card, be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos from me. I hope that you find some time today to get creative. Bye!